Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm bringing you another Hunter build. Now this build is using the solar element, and to be honest I see a lot of people not running this and I don't know why, because it is still really overpowered. But before we do start with today's video, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We're so close to that 40k milestone. We've been going up like 100 subs a day, so I do really appreciate it. I know you guys have been smashing these build videos, so let's try and aim for 150 likes. You got it on the last one, so let's see if you can do it again. But with that said, let's jump straight into today's build. Massive shout out to Blazing Boost for sponsoring today's video. It is coming to the end of the season and Lightfall is just around the corner, so if you're struggling to get any gear, make sure to check these guys out. They offer a Sherpa service. Plus with the Nightfall, the Grandmasters coming out, it's a really handy site to have if you guys are struggling. Not only that, it does have a Trustpilot of over 30,000 reviews with 5 stars. If you do use code Unstoppable at checkout, you will get a 5% discount. I'll also leave a link in the description that'll take you straight there. So starting off with a class, we are using Blade Barrage. Now this is probably one of the most consistent supers for solar in my opinion, and to be honest it is a really good one to use, especially with today's setup. Then we do have Gambler's Dodge, so dodging recharges our melee ability. This is going to be crucial for the build, so make sure you do have this one on. Then obviously jump is your personal preference. Now for me, Knife Trick is the best. Throws a fan of flaming knives that scorch targets on a hit. To be honest, it's just more consistent. You don't have to be as accurate. If you guys really want to be accurate and sort of you're really good with your knives, then you can obviously change it to something like the weighted throwing knife. But for me, I do prefer this one here, Knife Trick. Now, it's totally up to you what you want to use. Healing Grenade, I would recommend using if you're using high-end sort of gameplay, so like your Nightfalls. Healing Grenades do come in clutch, because we are going to be up close, so sometimes you will need it. If not, obviously use what you want. For me, I would probably use this Fusion Grenade if I'm going to use it, PvE-wise, that one there. And then for the aspects, what we do have is on your mark, precision final blows grant you and nearby allies increased weapon handling and reload speed. And then it does say activating your class ability immediately grants maximum stacks of on your mark. And then we do have knock 'em down. Your solar supers are enhanced, so our Blade Barrage will launch more projectiles. And then while we are radiant, final blows with your equipped throwing knife fully refund your melee energy. So if we are radiant, we'll be able to just use our throwing knife and we'll be able to get it back every single kill, which is so handy, and you'll see in the gameplay how good this actually is. Obviously end game wise as well, you can use it to go invisible with today's build, which is really good. Now for the fragments, we do have Ember of Char, Ember of Eruption, Ember of Ashes, Ember of Singeing, and Ember of Torches. So basically powered melee attacks against combatants make your nearby allies radiant and yourself. Then we do have your class ability recharges faster when you scorch, and then we do have you apply more scorch stacks, so we've synergized them two. And your solar ignitions have increased area of effect, and finally your solar ignition spread scorch to affected targets. So it's a really well synergized build. Now for today's build, I'm going to recommend some weapons. What I like about this is you don't have to stick to them at all. A lot of it will depend on sort of what activities you are doing. Just ignore how ugly the Hunter actually is. Obviously I've been testing different armor with this build and that, so I've not fully customized him. But for your primary, I would recommend using an energy weapon. So this one's a great one. Malicious Birthright with spike grenades. It's a really good primary. Now for the second one, something that will help you build is an incandescent weapon. But you don't have to. As long as it's solar, it will work. So like the Mida will work really well. Any solar weapon will work well in this slot. And for your heavy weapon, what I do like is the Lament. However, if you guys are struggling or you don't have this and you sort of need to keep distance, the Galahorn works fine. Any solar sort of heavy weapon will do the job perfectly. However, because we are going to be up close, the Lament, as it is solar, does a lot of damage and you can get kills with it quite quickly. Now stats wise, to be honest, the sort of build I've gone for is just the ones with my armor. So I have got 100 resilience, that's crucial. Intellect not so much, just because you can get your super back really quickly with this build anyway. Discipline is a good one just for them extra grenades, especially like if you're doing Grandmasters and using the healing grenade. Now recovery, I would say try and get this higher than 40. It's not crucial because as you can see with our exotic, we will be able to go invisible, so we'll be able to recover really easily, and I'll show you how you can do it with low recovery. If you guys can get higher recovery, then obviously do it, but they're the sort of stats you want to be aiming for, these three right here. Now moving on to the exotic that makes this build super good is the Assassin's Cowl. Powered melee final blows grant invisibility and restore a portion of its health. So that is why you don't need that much recovery. It's just sort of in them situations where you can't get it off. And then finishes and final blows against more powerful targets increase the duration of invisibility and the amount of health and shield restored. So for the perks on this one, we are using a resilience mod, hands-on, and powerful friends. For our gauntlets, what we've got on is a discipline mod. Now obviously if you guys, whatever you are using with your build, you would change this. So if the nightfall's overload, use overload. If it's barrier, use a barrier weapon, that sort of thing. That's pretty self-explanatory, and we are pairing that with melee well maker, so that when we do use our melee, you will be able to get wells. And going on to our chest piece, we're using a discipline mod, energy diffusion substrate, so we just take a little bit less damage, and font of might, picking up an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type, grants a temporary bonus weapon damage of that same elemental type, which synergizes really well. Moving on to the boots, we do have a discipline mod, sword scavenger to keep our lament sort of fully stacked, and invigoration, elemental armaments, combatant weapons, final blows with a damage type that matches your subclass element, have an escalating chance to spawn an elemental well. It's just a little boost obviously with that there. And then for the final one, what we do have is a minor resilience mod, lucent finisher. Basically if we are using finishers, we're going to be getting our heavy back, which is crucial for them sort of nightfalls. And this one right here, monochromatic maestro, dealing damage with elemental abilities, grants increased damage to weapons of the same element for a short duration. Dealing damage with elemental weapons grants increased damage to abilities of the same element for a short duration. So pretty much it synergizes. If you're using your abilities and that, you'll be getting more damage with weapons and vice versa. So this build is really insane. All you need to do is simply kill shit with your melee, go invisible, rinse and repeat. Obviously when you start stacking your radiant, that sort of thing, you can swap to your lament, do even more damage with it, and just simply do it that way. But I'll show you some gameplay of today's build. Like I said, if you are new, remember to subscribe, drop a like down below, and let me know what build you want to see on the channel from now on. And as always, I will catch you in the next one.